We're pleased on this edition of Talking Press to be talking with Jody Grant, the head football coach of the Bentonville Tigers. Coach, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Well, it's been tough for the pandemic. How have you handled it? And here, I'm going to imagine you're ready for this to be over.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready for it to be over, and it's been an interesting process, but we've handled it the best way we can as far as our football program goes and dealing with our kids. We've stayed in contact with them throughout the whole process, and kind of what we've done is we've sent out workouts, and we asked them to send in a video clip of that workout just to kind of hold them accountable to working out, just because we can't prove that they're working out. That's been successful. We've had a lot of them sending them in. It's fun to get to see where they're working out and some of the ideas that they come up with to do what we're asking them to do. And then we obviously have done our offense and defensive installs 3 days a week. So we're getting to see their faces and communicate with them and check in on them. So it's been good. We didn't really know what else to do. I think that's kind of what the norm is. So it's been good for us so far.
How difficult has it been to do installs through virtual coaching?
Well, there's been some pros and cons to it. One thing about it is we've been able to do, so we've done our offensive installs at 10:30 in the morning and our defensive installs at 2:30 in the morning. The good thing about that is it allows some of our guys, it allows us to have more two-way guys to learn both sides of the ball. We don't have a lot of those guys, but we might now because of this. But then you deal with kids that really struggle to learn just by listening. So many kids learn better by actually doing it. So we'll see how it turns out. I think we'll see the result of the virtual teaching when we do get to get them back and get them out there on the field and doing some things and running some plays. But I think it'd be crazy not to do that because that's what we would have done at this point anyway with spring football. We would have gone through an install period and especially for our rising sophomores, our current freshmen, it's important for them to come in and understand and just reteach everything. So I think it's been good.
As we get back to hopefully normal in the fall, as we tape this, we're expecting the governor to announce things to open up a little bit in Arkansas regarding team sports. How far behind does it put you to having to do a virtual install then not being able to have had spring practice on the field with coaching present?
So I do think it's significantly different, and it does put you behind compared to what it would have been in previous years because the value of spring football and what leads to that. Obviously, we lost a whole 7 to 8 weeks of strength conditioning, but the way we phase that in is, we start doing so much more football fundamentals and football group work that we've missed. And then obviously 10 practices. Today would have been our spring football game this evening. And, you think about that, that's 10 practices that we missed. We're going to miss a team camp. We would have normally team camped the next week. And it's still during that dead period. So yeah, I think it's definitely lost significant time, but from a competitive standpoint, I don't think it's a complete disadvantage because everybody's in the same boat. So it's all to me and how you handle it from this point forward. And that's going to be, up to each individual program and how they do that. But, I think there's a plan. I think there's a right way to do that. And that's how we'll go moving forward as soon as we get the go-ahead from the governor and the AAA.
And speaking of camps, 7-on-7 obviously has always been a big part of football in the summer. That's all kind of up in the air. What would the impact be of not having 7-on-7 in the summer for a program such as yours?
Yeah, well, obviously we'd love to have it, and I hope they find a way. We're scheduled for a few 7-on-7s, and I think they're important. I personally think the impact of not having team camps affects us more than not having 7-on-7. But they're both obviously very impactful by not having them. So the way I think that this will come through when the governor announces and when the AAA talks about it is I think that we'll probably slowly phase some of this stuff in. And I think competing with other schools will probably be a part of the last phase. So my gut tells me that we probably won't have 7-on-7. And the first time we actually get to compete against another team will be, during the football season when the schedule actually starts. So all the team camps and 7-on-7s, I'm afraid will not happen. Like I said earlier, though, there's no competitive advantage, disadvantage because everybody's in the same boat. But as far as just being, you're being prepared for the season, do I think it affects that? Obviously, but it's just in how you handle it from this point forward, and just being smart with our kids, and just it's kind of maybe go back to the old way of how used to, but back when you and I played, you went through a conditioning period, what we old school two-a-days, and you played 2 or 3 weeks later, and we're going to have hopefully longer than that, but it's we're so used to year-long football, and we just took about an eight-week hiatus from that, so we got to figure out how to fix some of those issues and move forward.
No question about it. And as we take a look at your schedule coming up for the 2020 season, we're less than 100 days away from the start of the season, which is amazing to me. And you've got a challenging non-conference schedule with Liberty North and Rockhurst and Conway. But like you said, everybody is kind of in the same boat right now. So,
yeah, we do have a tough non-conference. We were happy to add Kansas City Rockhurst back to our non-conference schedule after a few years away from them. And, obviously that's a tradition program in the Kansas City area. And their coach retired after several years, and they made a great hire and got some new guys up there. And then obviously Liberty North, they went 11-1 last year and got beat in the state semifinals. So, and then obviously Conway is a traditional power program out of the South. We like to schedule a tough non-conference, and we feel very strong about doing that again this year. So, we're out that, but we are. I checked on the Missouri status, and they have a June 1 start date at this point, and so if that's what we end up with, that'll be great. But either way, it's all about handling the kids the right way and getting them ready to play by the first day.
You mentioned tough opponents. Well, everybody will consider you all a tough opponent. You've won the conference in the 7A West 7 of the last 8 years. What's been the key to your consistency? Because bottom line, the 7A West title runs through Bentonville until someone proves otherwise.
Yeah, and I hope it stays that way. We take great pride in our conference championships, and our kids understand how important it is to our program. We document that stuff. We have our trophies up. It's important to them, and it's important to our staff and our high school as a whole. And so, we set goals each year, and one of those goals is to win the conference. You do that for positioning for playoffs. Obviously, if you win the conference, you've positioned yourself to be the number 1 seed and host playoff games all the way through, and get to play on at your home field the day after Thanksgiving. All that stuff's very important to give yourself an opportunity to go win the thing. And it's been a few years since we've won it. We made it in 17, got beat by North Little Rock. Been beaten in the semis last year. It's hard to get there. It's hard to win it. But this is a group of young men and coaches that are very hungry to get back there. And so to answer your question about what's the I just think it's just we make it a something that they value and that's important. We don't just talk about it as something that we just hope that'll happen. It's something that we talk about that we expect to happen, and so kids have embraced that.
How much, going back to is talking about the upcoming season and getting ready, how much time do you think needs to be placed on conditioning before you get started into drills, or can you do all that kind of at the same time?
Well, I think that's an interesting formula. I think we have to be aware that the percentage of kids that have done workouts where they're in great shape is probably lower than we want to admit. And that's just the truth. If you have 100 kids in your program, I would hope that 50% of those have done every workout with the intensity that you hope for, but that may be a stretch, and it's not necessarily the kid's fault. A lot of it's a situation where they don't have the equipment to do what we ask them to do, or they don't have the time or the ability, or there's a lot of circumstances that play into that. So it's of my opinion that when we get them back, the focus needs to be on conditioning, and I don't think it's something that you rush. I think you got to be very careful of that. I think it's something about you got to be intentional about the soft tissue and the preparation and just prepare them for the game of football. And with the weight program that we we do in the spring and spring football, that's all part of it. But by missing that, we're going to have to adjust that a little bit and focus on that. Now, I do think you can condition through football fundamentals and drill work. So I think there's a little bit of a combination of that. But I think initially it's just kind of getting them back used to the movement and going and working out the soreness and just strengthening some areas and just, making sure they understand, and then making sure that you don't rush them back into something and that you're still being respectful to the body's rest needs. So, I think each program will have to be very intentional and smart about how they handle coming back.
I know the kids are probably anxious to get back, but coaches are just as anxious, if not more so, to get back. Would you say that's a fair comment?
Yeah, I mean, here's the truth: is most people in this profession, love kids. They do it because they love kids and they love football. It's a great profession, and I'm blessed to have a staff that just really pours out into these kids and really wants to be a support system to them and a role model to them. And the truth is, we miss them, and we miss that. I've had kids that have come by my house just because they've missed me and missed our coaches, and we check in on them on a lot, but it's just something about face-to-face contact that I think that we all miss. And so to say that I am ready to get back is an understatement. I'm eager to get back. I'm sure I'll be there super early, just waiting for the first kids to get there whenever it happens. And I think we'll find that our kids are equally as eager to get back because it's just what's normal for them. And we've all been in this kind of quarantine pandemic lifestyle that none of us are used to. And, we're kind of ready to move on. We're going to respect the virus and respect the guidelines, but we're ready for stuff to be lifted. And so these kids and everybody can get somewhat back to some normalcy.
No question about that. Well, do you have time real quick to play our quick quiz?
Yeah, I hope I can do justice here. We'll see.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you'll be fine. Here we go. First place you'll take the family to either get a haircut or out to eat?
Haircut.
I'm with you there. Do you play a musical instrument?
I would love to be able to tell you I can play the guitar or the piano, and when nobody's watching, I will toy around with it. But no, I'm awful, and I have no musical skills.
Okay. When it comes to grilling, what are you more likely to grill? Beef, chicken, or pork?
Well, I claim to be one of the top grillers in Northwest Arkansas.
Oh.
So I feel confident in my ability to grill all these, but I would go with chicken as my, I don't know. If I could pick them all, I'd do it, but I would say chicken is probably one of my strong suits.
Okay. What is your go-to grilling dish?
My pork tenderloin.
That's making me hungry. Last movie you saw in a theater?
Oh my. That's how long it's been since I've been to a theater. I can't even remember. I'm gonna say it's probably a Disney one because I have a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old. So, what's the latest Toy Story? Toy Story 3?
4, 5. I'm not sure. Okay, we'll take
whatever the last Toy Story was. That's it.
Okay, and finally, what have you spent more time doing, cleaning the garage or doing yard work?
Probably yard work. I've done both multiple times, but I would say I've done most yard work.
Yeah, I would agree. I think most of us are still holding out hope everything gets back to normal. We don't have to touch the garage, at least not yet.
That's right.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for the time. I know you want us to catch the governor coming up here in a few minutes, so hopefully next time we catch up to you, we'll actually be able to talk football and preparation for the 2020 season.
Sounds great. I appreciate you having me on.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jody. Have a great day.
You too.